This is the Stormy Willow podcast, a lighthearted, balanced examination of the paranormal. Hello and welcome to the Stormy Willow podcast. I'm your host, Adele.
And I'm your host, Sarah.
We hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, we are recording on a Monday. Right? So you might, if you're feeling some weird vibes, that's what it is.
Yeah, and it's after the workday.
Yeah, you're feeling that Monday energy right off the bat. How was your weekend, Adele?
It was good. Didn't really do anything.
That's good sometimes.
It was just cold here, and we just binged on like all the Batman movies.
Ooh, that's not a bad way to spend a weekend, especially a cold one.
Yeah, we watched all of the, like Dark Knight ones, and then we watched the newer Robert Pattinson one.
Well, I hear that Michael Keaton's coming back.
I don't know. I'm hearing all sorts of stuff.
So we'll see. I mean, he's my favorite Batman.
It's not like they're slowing up on superhero movies.
They aren't. They are not.
But guys, trademark, you've heard it here first. You need to start making cryptid movies. But I mean like epic. Like I know there were some like horror movies. There's really cool with like the Bunny Man and stuff. But like you need to like make them as epic. I mean like Godzilla. Like yes. Epic.
And again, I just want to say TM and maybe Stormy Willow Productions will be rolling out soon or something. I don't know. But I mean, that's my vision.
Yeah, I mean, I just have all this money to invest in a film about the Jersey Devil.
Me too. And I'm like, this is what I knew I needed to do with all that extra flow of income.
Yeah. But hey guys, if you want to make it happen, we can open up like a donation and make this a thing.
I'm in.
You just let us know.
We will be happy to help you spend that money.
Yes.
Don't you worry. I love that vision. I mean, that's a great vision, Adele. I really like it. So I had an awesome weekend. Went down to the Low Country and I went on a gala tour, Adele. And if some of you guys will recall back, one of our first episode, I think episode 2, I talked about tags. And we also talked not too long ago about the Lands in Light. And let me tell you, our tour guide was amazing. It was a 3-hour long tour. And I could tell she definitely wasn't one that really liked talking about the paranormal. So I kind of didn't take my ghost equipment, because I could tell that she would not like that. But she did talk about the Lands in Light. And apparently her brother has seen the Lands in Light. And apparently it was something like she said it was really big in the 80s. It's not really as big now as it was back then, but he swears that it's out there. She thinks he's crazy, but he has seen it. And also just, talking about like creepy things. She was talking about like the Gullah tradition, and she is Gullah, and it's such a dying out thing where like the new generation doesn't really want to be affiliated, with carrying it out and stuff. And so, I mean, she's in her 70s now, and just to be able to get a tour and a perspective from her and her whole family being an enslaved people to that region, it was so powerful. And I just want to say, and I'm going to go on my soapbox here, we try not to do it Stormy Willow, but we end up doing it Stormy Willow. It is so fucking important to tell history and be honest about history. And I feel like our tour guide she didn't hold back. And I love that. I literally sat in a seat of a praise house where slaves sat. I sat there and it was so overwhelming. I couldn't stop crying just because of the stories and the feelings and how like their songs, like what they meant. I mean, like their families would literally just be sold that's the only way they could try to find any comfort was going to a praise house. And it just, Adele, it was moving. And I am such an advocate for not making history bubblegum and fun. It should be the raw truth. And I think our tour guide did that so lovely. But I was going to tell you, she did tell me some burial traditions, which I thought was interesting for the Gullah culture that I wanted to share with you guys. Um, if someone had died giving birth, they would take the newborn baby to the graveyard and swing the baby over the mom's grave to release the bond between the mom and the baby, because they believed that if they didn't release the bond, then the baby would die.
What do you mean by swing?
They would like hold the baby and just rock the baby back and forth over the mom's grave.
Oh, okay.
Try to
like left to right, standing at the foot?
Kind of like just over the grave, over the mom's grave, just kind of
okay.
Left to right, just trying to break that bond so that the baby wouldn't die. They also believe that you should always wear a hat in a cemetery so that spirits couldn't get into your head. Which I thought was interesting. And there were even like rules about having to walk backwards outside of a graveyard, and like people that were tormented or that they would tie to a tree and without a hat to let the spirits like have their way with their head. Just real interesting stuff. So
wow.
I wanted to share those things with you all, because you know I talk a lot about the Low Country. I love the Low Country, and I don't love the history, but I love like the spooky like ghosts and lore, and this was a really cool thing. So I wanted to give a shout out there. So if you're ever in Beaufort, check out Kelly Tours. My sister-in-law Heather is there, so give her a call and book a tour. They have a lot of different ones, and they're great. I mean, I've been on 2 of their tours, and they both have been so amazing, like just so good. So highly recommend it if you're in the Beaufort, South Carolina area.
Yeah, it sounds fun. I always love those historic and haunted, like whatever. We usually go to like mansions, though. I don't know when we got into that, but like we went to Pap's Mansion in like Wisconsin. Yeah. I proposed to Amanda at, you know, the Dry House Mansion in Chicago. Like,
good.
I don't know. It's just we like mansions.
They are really cool, and
they're fun.
So creepy, you know, in the Low Country. You know, there are a lot of plantation homes still, which is and they have one. There's a picture of me on my personal Facebook where, you know, the scene of Forrest Gump when he's running down the dirt road and his braces come off of his legs. Well, that's an entry to a plantation, and I actually have my picture running down that entryway. And there's a big plantation house on the end, and apparently a recluse writer lives there now. Like, can you imagine the haunts and just it's very creepy looking. So
yeah.
So yeah, and I can believe it's I may be wrong, but it was Ebenezer was his name, was the name of the plantation owner, and that was that's his plantation, so home. And so it's just, can't imagine. I would love to go in there with my EMF detector.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. Or scary. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would do a lockdown.
Yeah, I think that would be one of the more icky,
very icky
places to investigate.
Very icky, yes, indeed. But speaking of, you know, events going on, I always recommend anytime you're in a new place or even your hometown, always check out a tour. Like, they're so awesome and you learn so much. I mean, I know I play like a real nerd for saying that, but it's my favorite thing to do. I love going on the tour. You really learn a lot. But yeah. I've got some really fun things starting to kind of get going in April. So I feel like some fun things are starting to come along. The first
season is back, huh?
That's right. Saturday, April the 8th, 8:30 to 1, we have a paranormal investigation at Big Bone Lick State Historic Site in Union, Kentucky. This is actually like a state park, and they're doing paranormal investigating, which I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like, way to go, Kentucky. So if you want some more information on it, you can reach out at 859-384-3522, and the rangers there will be happy to give you information about that paranormal investigation that's happening at the state park.
that's pretty cool.
Adele, I've got a few things. Like, you need to go ahead and get out your calendar. I'm going to go ahead and tell you about April the 29th from 10 to 7 and Sunday, April the 30th, 10 to 5 in Heritage Square Museum in Louisiana. They're having a spooky swap meet.
What is that?
So, like, you bring all of your spooky merchandise, and it's like, a big swap meet. Like, I have this, I'll trade you this spooky thing for this one. Or like, I'm sure they'll have people that are also like selling like merchants and stuff, kind of like a yard, not like a yard sale, but kind of
like a flea market.
Yeah, kind of like a flea market, but it's called the Spooky Swap Meet. Like, how cool is that?
That sounds like a lot of fun.
And Adele, I hope you're ready for this. Like, I need you to get out your calendar because you're close here. On April the 14th at the Ridgeline Hotel in Estes, Colorado, they're having a Bigfoot barbecue dinner. And they're going to have people that are like specialists on Bigfoot hunters. And this is actually a paid dinner that you could pay for. And you can meet and talk to these people. And I think that they're going to have their information. But on that next day, that Saturday, so it's going to be Saturday, April the 15th, is the Bigfoot Day Fest.
What?
And it's at Bond Park, same place in Estes, Colorado. And it's 10 to 4. It's a completely free event. They're going to have all kinds of Bigfoot things going on. So if you're in the Estes area, Estes, Colorado, at Bond Park, that is going to be a happening place. I don't know how far you are from that, Adele, but I just saw Bigfoot in Colorado, and it just screamed Adele to me.
I'm looking at it. It's called Estes?
Estes.
Estes Park.
Well, it's Estes, Colorado. It's in Bond Park.
Okay. Well, I see an Estes Park too.
Oh,
the town is called Estes Park.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me see.
Adele's like, when I saw that, I knew. I was like, this has got Adele written all over it.
It definitely looks like Bigfoot country. It looks like a cute little snow town.
It
like
is
a
so
little
cute.
skiing town.
And Adele, maybe you could get in on that barbecue dinner, but you could bring like some vegan barbecue.
Yeah, I was wondering. And if they do have a vegetarian option, it's probably that crappy jackfruit barbecue that I'd rather just not.
I'm not trying to be a downer. And if you like it, I'm sorry, but I have tried jackfruit so many ways at so many different places, and it's always double yuck for me.
It's just like, don't
do it.
Just eat something entirely different.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, it's like 8 hours away.
Okay. Well, it's Bigfoot, and it's like so.
I mean, I'd have to pass through Colorado Springs and Denver.
There you
and
go.
Boulder. And Aurora.
Wow. Okay. Well, maybe it's not as close, but it's definitely closer to you than it is me. And it sounds so freaking fun. So if you're around that area or if you like taking a road trip, like pack up the family and go. It just looks like a really good time. Also, there will be some really cool folks there to meet and talk to you.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes. And that's what I've got. So we're starting to heat it up as the months get hotter. So do these events.
Hey. Well, those sound like some fun events. Do we want to know what kind of, I don't know, mood or events people will be, experiencing by the time of these fun events?
It's always nice to prepare. So I say, why not?
All right, guys, I have your astrological forecast for the week of March 26th through April 1st.
Oh.
Where did March go?
No.
All right. Well, I do have one big event happening on March 28th. We have the Mercury and Jupiter conjunction in Aries.
Does that mean like Aries are on high alert?
I think this sounds pretty awesome. I think we're all going to feel like superheroes on a mission this week.
Oh, heck yes.
So, this is compliments of yogajournal.com.
I love the yogajournal.com.
I really like how they break things down for people who have no idea what any of this stuff means.
That would be us, Adele. That would be us.
Yeah, they even explained a conjunction, which I always was like, I think I know what it is, but this was just so nice.
Conjunction, what's your function?
Oh
No?
boy. No, no.
Okay, never mind.
Well, that is funny though, because I do literally have conjunction equals signs. I guess I was doing equations, but it's simply whenever planets are within a few degrees of one another and they're falling under the same sign in this case, since I said this conjunction was occurring in Aries. Right.
Got it. Yeah.
Super simple. So these planets are going to be really close together as they're in Aries.
Makes sense.
But what does that really mean, though? Because you hear this all the time. So when planets are in conjunction with one another, they're actually like kind of no longer alone. They blend their energies and kind of support one another.
Oh, that's nice. That's lovely.
So if you kind of think about what those two planets are all about, it's going to be like the combination of their features. So if you think about Mercury, that usually is very much the mind, right? And like planning and communication, all of those things.
We're very familiar when it goes astray.
Exactly. That's why we all feel that. Your mind just feels all over the place.
That's right.
Jupiter represents like expansion, growth, experience. And Aries, our little friends, even though they can sometimes seem selfish, it is really more about the self. And I think maybe more so that deeper understanding of truly who you are to the core. So that's a pretty powerful combination, right? So we have mind, expansion, and self. And I could not say it any better than Yoga Journal. What does this all mean? So it means on this day, the conjunction, we will experience a collaboration of thoughts, opportunity, and beginnings, communication, growth, and inspiration, mental processing, expansion, and action. It is a coming together of new ideas in service to the self. It is a door opening to the potential found within our communication and inspired actions. So to me, it sounds like all of these things are in perfect synchronicity. You really are kind of just ready to go. So if you've been waiting on a change, the change is here when this happens.
That is awesome.
Like like you're gonna have it like more of a voice than usual because opportunities and kind of luck are all gonna work for you. It's almost gonna be like, I don't know, whenever you kind of get in the zone, if you will.
That's awesome.
So all these things are going to synchronize and work really well for all of us this week. So right now, go get it.
That sounds great. And especially in light of today's news, maybe there will be some hope with some legislation changes and whatnot. So we'll see.
Well, I guess you can take it for what you will. I guess depending on, I think a lot of people are really tired and kind of like feel like they're blue in the face with same shit, same approach. We expect different outcomes and it's not happening. So I don't know. Maybe whatever you're hoping your outcome will be, it'll finally be the time to actually get some momentum.
Right. And also, I just wanted to say, speaking of Aries, our favorite Aries has a birthday this week. Happy birthday, Stephen.
Yeah.
Hey, Peanut. We love you.
He's turning 63.
He's turning 63. No, just kidding. He says I make him feel like he's 63. He's like, I'm just so rough and tough to live with.
I don't know. When Mom was house sitting for you, I heard how loud the damn television was. I had to help her like turn it down. Well, happy birthday, Stephen.
Yes.
Although he can't hear this because
yeah. Like, what did you say?
Yeah. Well, anyway, what do you have for us today?
Oh, listen, I really love the forecast. And, I don't know how the universe does this, but it just really aligned, your forecast really aligned perfectly for what I'm going to be talking about today. So I spun theory. And so, as I do sometimes, I went out on a limb And we talk about this a lot on the podcast, but I thought we would maybe just dedicate an episode to it as we're learning. And we're going to talk about the theory of manifesting today.
Ooh.
Yes. So, just a quick shout out to the experts on this, Psychology Today, uh, Manifesting Sage, and GabbyBernstein.com. So just some really good sources that I got my information from. And I wanted to kind of rewind a little bit in our minds. Do you remember The Secret? You remember that whole phenomenon with, if you will it to be, it will
Mm-hmm.
be, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of like took the nation by, or the world, I guess you would say. Uh, they were just like, what is this? Like, can I really will, $1 million, a brand new job, house, boat, car, whatever? And I just want to kind of make the claim here that the law of attraction and manifestation are actually not the same thing. And here's the distinction between the two. So although they're very similar in that you're kind of getting that mind ready, mind and focus for something that you want to attract into your life. The biggest difference is the law of manifestation is also the biggest word is going to be action. You're taking action to make those things happen. Whereas the law of attraction is more no action. It's just think, 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 think. Whereas when I'm talking about manifesting, I am going to be talking about what you think, but I'm also going to be thinking about how that changes your actions to line you up to receive those things. So whenever somebody talks about the law of attraction or manifesting, I used to think they were the same thing. I didn't know that there was a distinction between the two, and that there is. A lot of the principles you're going to find are going to be the same, but the major difference that we're talking about here is that action element.
Like, I guess you'll get into like examples of that.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it, but just the big distinction that they're not the same. Because I thought that. Did you think that they were the same thing, or did you think that there was a difference? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I thought the whole idea was to get your mental state as if you've already received this, so then you already have that feeling, and then that feeling of being happy about what you're going to get brings it to you.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, and I think Adele, you're gonna really like this topic a lot because Adele has a psychology background and a huge love for psychology. And so I was really cool to get a lot from Psychology Today about it. And I think you'll really like the science as well. But so I just wanted to just hit a few bullet points. Like, we talk about manifestation a lot in this podcast. And Adele and I would say, are somewhat kind of new to it still. Like, we're still kind of figuring it out as we go. And so I just wanted to let you know what it is. So basically, you're turning an idea, whatever kind of idea you have, into a reality. It's not only your thoughts and feelings that bring something into reality, but the big takeaway, as I've mentioned, includes action. Okay. And then we talked about the differences of how it's different from the law of attraction and The Secret. So I just want to let you know what manifesting is not. Okay. So it's not about getting something necessarily, but about becoming something. That's an aha moment. So it's not always about the thing, it's about the outcome, who you're going to become as a result of the thing.
So it's you essentially becoming the means to get what you want.
Exactly. And so it's not really about, and also, like, I know sometimes, like, I'm tend to be a little bit of a control freak. I like to control. I mean, I think a lot of people are. Like, who doesn't like to control as much about their life as they can? But another thing that you want to kind of change your mindset about is that it's really not about controlling your situation, but it's about letting your situation go and vibing with the universe. So I know that may sound a little woo-woo, but it's not, just because, I'm manifesting this, I'm manifesting that, and you try to take the control, and you don't really let the universe kind of take that wheel, you can end up in a situation that really wasn't meant for you to begin with, and you forced it to happen, and here you are in a bad situation that you thought, oh, I'm going to make a ton of money, I'm going to do this, and it doesn't really vibe with the universe. You do it anyway, you force it to happen, and as a result, like maybe you're exhausted, you hate this new thing you did, and it really didn't even give you the same outcome anyway. That's because you controlled the situation, not that you manifested it. Mm-hmm. And we'll get into that a little more, but these are just kind of things just to think of, just the bullet points. And manifesting isn't even about getting what we think we want. It's about receiving what is of the highest good for all. So you got to remember, like, we're in this big picture, right? And I'm still learning how this all works. I don't know that my brain will ever comprehend it, but we're all parts of a bigger puzzle and a bigger equation. And when we manifest something, it's got to be in a line for a greater good. It's not just about me, and my wants, but like what, as a result of that, can create a ripple effect to help other people or, other situations. So kind of think of it that way as well.
I think that's what I can't remember if I think it's the science of money or the frequency of money.
Okay.
One of those. He constantly talks about creating instead of competing.
Yeah.
Because he's like, everything you need is out there, and if it's for you, somebody else can't have it. They don't have it, so you don't have to compete with them.
That's so true. And you just think about that mindset. Like, I know, like, when I think that I'm in a competition with somebody, like, I already feel the tension, and I don't like that feeling. Like, I have to be better at this person, I have to run faster than this person, or whatever. I'm already vibing at a different frequency. I'm not having fun, I'm not enjoying it, I'm not bringing joy to others or myself. Like, it already just kind of changes.
Yeah,
I agree. And I know these are like, this may really seem like a woo-woo thing, but I really think there's a lot of actual science to back it up as well. And we'll talk about the pros and cons too, but just like bullet points, just to kind of little thought bubbles for you, just to kind of just hear me out on. One thing also to remember is that sometimes your plan isn't always the best plan. So, for example, if all your meditations and affirmations are around landing a promotion at work, right? You're like, I'm going to get this promotion, I want this promotion, I have to have this promotion. You might be completely blocking a better opportunity at a different company, or maybe the same company, but there's a better opportunity coming next. So if you just focus on, I have to get this exact position with this company, I have to get this exact position with this company, I have to get this exact position with this company, you could really be blocking something that is just much better for you, that the universe has aligned. So, try to be a little more broad with your manifestations. Like, don't just be like, it has to be this. You can give some wiggle room there. You don't have to be like, I want to be the CEO of Stormy Willow.
Well,
I mean, we are already, but I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, I have to be better at Adele and get this promotion. I have to get it. So, like, just think about that. And just remember, like, as you're doing this, manifesting, just remember that the universe has a plan that's going to be way better than your own plan. Trust me on that. You can stop your controlling and start receiving by just tapping into that guidance and knowing that you may think that you know what's best for your life, but you don't. And I mean, I know we both have had examples of that, where we were just so bummed that something didn't work out the way we wanted it to in our life, and we ended up in a better place because the universe had a better plan. So those are just kind of some thinking points about what manifesting is not, and what it is. So let's get into the science part of it here. So there is actual science, like, backed proof that this idea of manifestation can really help you. Like, it can really help you. So a growth in mindset can actually help you manifest your dreams and goals. And there was research done by Dr. Carol Dweck, and she shows that believing you can do something makes it more likely that you'll successfully do it. So, like, for example, I'm just going to use myself for an example. So I love to run, right? It's just, It's something I love to do. It helps me with my stress levels, all this stuff. So I set a goal for myself so in January, I set a goal that I wanted to run a half marathon in 2 hours or less. That was my goal. 2 hours or less, 2 hours or less. No, I didn't just sit there and say it and not run and just hope I was going to sign up for this half marathon and be able to do it. I mean, I got a training plan. I ran with a running coach. I busted my ass. Like, I ran 30 miles a week, nearly every week, doing speed work, doing drills, doing these things. I went to race this Saturday. Guess what my time was? 1 hour and 55 minutes. That's because I had the mindset, knew I could do it, but I also took those actions. I didn't just will it to happen. You know what I mean? Like, you have to take the actions for it to happen.
Yeah. I think thus far, and this is something I've always struggled with manifestation. That manifestation is really at the end of it. Really just sounds like goal setting. You know what I mean? But there's almost like this spiritual aspect to it of just it's kind of like having faith, and that's something that you want or better will happen if you put in the work.
Exactly. I agree. I feel like it's goal setting with a safety net, if that makes sense. Because like, you are setting goals for yourself, but if you don't meet a goal and it's out of your control, then you're going to vibe differently, because you're going to start thinking in your head, wait, the universe doesn't want this for me. And then something better is going to come along. You know what I mean? Instead of feeling that depression that you feel. Because like, even if I don't know, like, I'm not saying, I don't know. I think that it is like goal setting. And I feel like people that do set goals usually tend to work towards them. So they are kind of doing the same things as manifestation a little bit, like you said, but it's a little more, it has a little more putting some faith behind it as well. So the science also suggests that if you truly believe that you can achieve something, that you're going to do the hard work to make it happen, first of all. So it's like, if you really want something and it means that much to you, then you're going to put in that work to make it happen. So, you know, if I'm manifesting like this time that I really wanted on this half marathon, that I'm going to put in the time likely to do the drills. Whereas like, say like I didn't really care. It's like, oh, you know, I'm setting goals for the new year. I want to run a half in 2 hours or less, but I don't really care about it. Like, I don't even care about running. Then I probably wouldn't be motivated to get up at 4 a.m. to make those a point. You know what I mean? Like, those things really wouldn't mean anything to me because the goal didn't mean anything to me. So you know what I mean? Like, you have to kind of align with everything.
And it's not that I'm lazy. It's just there's so many things I just don't care about. So I feel like I've always struggled with manifestation because I'm just like, well, I don't really know what I want to do.
Yeah, well, and that's true. And there's nothing wrong with that, Adele. You know, like, if it's not something that, you know, you're 100% like, this means something to me. You know what I mean? Like, I know that this means something to me, and I'm going to put in the work, and I'm going to do it. Because you have, with your job, with this podcast, I've watched you do it. Like, you know, like quitting smoking, moving, the things that you've done that really mean something to you, you put the work in and make it happen. But you know, things that you just maybe like, like, it would be nice.
Yeah.
But it's just not like you know, like, I just have to make this happen for me. Do you know what I mean? You're probably not going to really put in the work if it's something that you're like, you know, like,
I really care.
Yeah, like if you wanted to train for like a triathlon or something, you just might be like, I don't really, I mean, I guess like it'd be cool, but I don't really want to. Then you're not going to put in the work likely to make that goal happen, because it doesn't really matter to you.
So it sounds like it has to be something you really want in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll let you get more into the details.
So let me get more into it, and then we'll go in, because this is the science. Also, science suggests that our beliefs bring about behaviors that lead to the outcomes we desire. Yeah. So that was some of what you were talking about too. And this can also work negatively towards you as well. This has played out in my life too. Say you don't think you can succeed in something, right? Then what happens is, like, say for example, like, you want a better job, right? But you all of a sudden are like, I'm not gonna get it. I can't get a better job. This is the best I can do. Then you're likely going to go into an interview with that negative self-talk already in your head. And you're likely are not going to go in as someone that's like, I want a better job. I'm going to do it. I'm doing the work. I'm going to manifest this. I've got this. You know what I mean? You're going to be more of the negative self-talk.
Yeah.
Like, I'm stupid. I'm dumb. I don't have the qualifications. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. And you keep telling yourself that, that's the kind of energy you're going to vibe at likely with your interview. And then you're not going to get the job. And then guess what? You're going to be pissed off because you didn't get it. And you kind of already set those wheels in motion for you not getting it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So your beliefs set in motion the circumstances that affect your ability to manifest an outcome. And I've been there where I'm just like, I've definitely been there where I talked myself down from something and I just got in my head that I couldn't do something. And you know what? I fucking didn't do it. I didn't put in the actions because I just already thought, well, it's hopeless. I'm stupid or dumb anyway. So what's the point of me trying? And it just kind of all works against you. When instead you could be like, I'm doing better. I've got this. I'm going to put in this work to make this happen. It's just you're just kind of vibing at a different vibration, and you're putting in that work, and you're taking steps to make something better happen for yourself instead of something negative.
I mean, I don't know why. I instantly just think of sports with this. To me, it's like you're almost the quarterback. That's why they have multiple receivers, though, because you're going to throw to whoever's open. And you don't know who's going to be open during the play. You're just going to go with the best opportunity you see. But if you're hell-bent on throwing a huge, long touchdown, you might fuck up when he could have just gotten a first down.
You know, that is an excellent, that's a really good visual. It's true, right? You have a lot of options to choose from.
You still win the game without throwing that.
And not being the star necessarily.
You could just make the smaller incremental plays. It's just you have to be able to look and see what in the moment is available to you and then take the action to pursue one of those courses, which means you're closing the others that were open for the one you're going for.
Adele, whoa, psychology mind. I knew you were going to love this topic. And I know you got a lot more to say. I can tell.
Yeah.
As I read each bullet point, I'm looking at your face, and I'm gonna get to it. I promise.
I'm sitting tight.
I know you are. She's sitting on her hands, like.
I'm just gonna pet the cat. Little kitty cat's in here with me today. Girl's in here too.
Oh, welcome, Lou.
She's asleep.
Oh. All right, so let's keep on going. So research also shows that if you're already feeling bad, like in that circumstance we talked about, then you're also more likely to interpret neutral circumstances in a negative way. All right. Mm-hmm. So it may be that someone with a more positive attitude just pays more attention to the ways in which they have successfully manifested part of their dreams. So sometimes situations aren't good or bad. Sometimes they really are neutral. And how we interpret them makes them a good thing or a bad thing. And so sometimes someone with a more positive mindset that's manifesting goodness, keeping that higher vibration, say they didn't get the job. Well, okay. And then say the person that already had a negative mindset didn't get the job. All right. The person that has a more positive mindset and is manifesting at a higher level might be like, okay, that's cool. I'm going to get a better job. Like there's something better out there for me. Whereas someone with a negative mindset would just be like, this is it. I knew I was going to fuck this up. It's over for me. And you just keep on spiraling down, 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 and down. Sometimes situations, I think most situations in life really are neutral. I mean, and it's how you perceive them that puts a positive or negative spin on it.
That right there is getting into cognitive theory in psychology, which is that there is no such thing essentially as good or bad. It's what you think of it. Like, I mean, I agree with that to an extent. There are some situations where I'm like, this is a bad situation though. Like there's nothing good about it.
Sure. But there are situations that are 100% bad situations, I feel like.
And I'm not trying to negate like a lesson or a horrible thing somebody has to go through to, I don't know, realize something intrinsic about their self. Yeah, but I don't know. I instantly go to like murders or like horrible assaults. I'm just like, what possibly? That was a bad situation. Like, there's, I can't see, or maybe it's just me. Maybe some people are that, I guess, developed and, you know, they're higher thinking, and I'm just not there yet. But there are a handful of situations I can see no good in.
I agree. And I agree. I think you put it beautifully. And we're going to talk a little more about that in our next segment that I'm going to get to. But I think just in general, things can be neutral, but there are things, like you said, like rape, murder, things like that. It's like, why? Like, why did that have to happen?
Like you can't tell me that person's better off somehow because
like, could they, I mean, couldn't those same lessons have been learned in another way? You know, I don't know.
Yeah,
I agree. Like that's one, and that we're going to talk a little more about that in the next segment. But just to kind of finish up the science part of this, Dr. Barbara Fredrickson also did some research that showed that positive emotions enable happiness, which leads to success, and not the other way around. Okay, so people who are generally happy and positive typically attract more opportunities to themselves. They have better relationships, and they seem to be able to manifest what they set their minds to more easily than those that don't. Because let's think about it. Do you really like being around somebody that's negative all the damn time? Like, it makes you feel like shit. It brings you down. And so, like, you know, I'm not going to tell somebody that's constantly like, I don't really even like being around, like, hey, I know somebody that's looking for someone that, you know, you might be a good fit for, or whatever. You're just likely not going to recommend someone like that because, you know, like but if you can stay happy, like sometimes you can create opportunities. You can take bad situations and make them into better ones.
Yeah. It's so funny how much of this is like corporate-y though.
It is. Well, and
so I get it for anybody who's like rolling their eyes right now. Like, one, this is so woo-woo, and what are we doing with corporate training? Like, I've heard in so many meetings with like, like, are you gonna be an energy giver or an energy taker? Like, kind of crap.
I always love it's not that I'm telling you did something wrong, I'm coaching. That's my favorite. I'm like your coach. It's a good coaching opportunity.
Yeah, it's just like.
But it's true though, and I think that honestly, I think that corporate places, I think that
exploit good principles because marketing ruins everything.
But I mean, it's true though, right? Like,
yeah,
what they're teaching you is true.
They just don't practice it themselves.
And so I'm just saying, like, what they're telling you is true. Like, you know, like. I mean, I like working with a team that's more positive than negative. You know, who doesn't? So, yeah. But anyway, I think that's why corporations adopt it. I think that's why, you know, a lot of coaches, Olympian coaches and stuff, they adopt it because whether you call it manifestation, goal setting, whatever, there is definitely something to the mind. Like, what you think is really important. And I've seen that in my own life, like, you know, come true. And I've seen it on the opposite where I manifested bad shit and I saw it as bad. And I just kept going down that hole. So I do agree with the science for sure. But one thing I always wanted to know too, Adele, and you talked about this. So, okay, say that I'm vibing, you know, I'm being positive, I'm doing the shit. Well, if somebody I love gets cancer and is terminal, like, what the fuck is that? You know, did I manifest that? Did I cause that? Not. What happens there? And so one thing you have to know is that it's not your fault if a situation like that happens, because getting the disease is not something you can't manifest shit for people like that. You know, you can't.
I mean, you really can't manifest for other people, period.
You can't, exactly. And so you have to remember that coming here to the universe, your goal is to expand, right? To discover more of life's experiences, to understand more of the world, and to grow your knowledge and adventure. So you have to know that even though this situation, this is one of those things where someone could say, this is not a bad situation, it's a neutral situation. What have you learned from this? You know, and I tend to have a hard time with that because it just makes me so sad. But it's like, you know, you just have to look at and see, like, is this is just a neutral concept? Maybe something more in the days to come will make sense as to why you had to experience that. And maybe that person was here to do exactly what they were here to do. And, their time is gone and they've moved on to other things. So it kind of comes into that whole universal concept again, that energy is not created nor destroyed. So when you leave here, you go on. And so they would say that this is a neutral situation and something good will come of it, and that you may not know it for years to come or ever, but it will. And then you just keep vibing at that high frequency is what the manifestation universe would say. I have a hard time with that one, in the sense of, I understand that, one, you can't like you said, you can't manifest for someone else. You can't say, oh, someone else, like my dog Herman has cancer. I can't say that I manifested that for him. You know what I mean? You can't do that. Your mind's not, you can't like will that for him or for someone. Two, I guess it's hard for me because I struggle so with death, which is why I'm so obsessed with it, and probably this podcast. It's because I just don't know what happens, and I want to know so badly, like everyone else. But I think it's really hard. And maybe I'm like you. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not there yet in my thinking to be able to see a situation like that as neutral. I think it's a real shitty damn situation, personally, that I would have a hard time finding the greater good. Yeah, like something good may come of it, and that maybe, I don't know, like maybe things will come together the way they're supposed to, and it'll all work out. Like I think about a friend of mine who knew someone whose dog had passed, or who had their owner had passed with cancer, and before she passed, she wanted to make sure her dog had a great place to go, so they picked my friend, right, who their dog had just passed. And this dog, they were able to give this dog the best life, right? And then this dog gets diagnosed with cancer just a few weeks ago and is passed now. And so it's like you could see, like she said, that she was able to see that the greater good was maybe like this dog's human was waiting for them this time.
Yeah.
Rainbow Bridge, so she was able to kind of connect those things. But like, today we, and I never mean to be political. I don't, but today we have another horrible mass school shooting. I have a hard time making that a neutral situation. I think that's a horrible situation that should never happen. I have a hard time making situations like that neutral. And maybe people that do vibe higher can see, well, maybe there will be some good that comes of this, but then it's like you see another one and another one and another one. And it's like, why? Why did these people have to die? And I have a really hard time spinning that where it doesn't take you down. I just think it's senseless. It's horrible. Again, it could be that it takes a guru, someone that has just really had to learn and go through this to really be able to put a positive spin on something so horrific. I am not there yet. I am not at that point. I can honestly say in manifestation where I'm there. I still struggle with manifestation and staying in that. And that
but I think the idea is that it's the ego, really, right? That makes you feel a certain way. Whereas if you had no ego, you would feel neutral.
Yep. And I think that kind of comes back to a lot of teachings with Dr. Rohr, who I love, and we did a story on, and Eckhart Tolle, and so many people, where the ego is really where the root of all of it's kind of the root of all evil, really. And we all have it. Even when you're trying to do good and you're a do-gooder, that's still your ego. It's not always about like what you're trying to, like the cause is about you, like, oh, look at me, like, making this cause, like, look at me. And like, even if you're doing good, you still have that ego. So it's true. And the whole ego is a whole nother, it's very hard to silence. Like even in the best of intentions, ego does kind of shine through. But just quick before we kind of get into our debates about it, and our thoughts, if you've never manifested and you're just completely new to this and you're like, I've heard of The Secret, and now I've learned that manifestation is different. Like, what the hell? Like, what do you do? So, just kind of a quick rundown of how to manifest in your life. Um, you got to get clear on what you want to manifest. Okay. So, like you said, it needs to be important to you. It doesn't need to be something like, that you don't really care about. Number one, I mean, like, like you got to know, like, hey, this really is important to me, and that you're going to put in the work to make it happen. So don't try to do something stupid like, I want a brand new handbag, but you don't really care
Yeah.
if it or not. Like you gotta be intentional with it. Okay. Um, so you've got to manifest what matters to you. And you need to really think about it. Think about whatever you're manifesting. Is this going to make you happy or fulfilled? Does it feel right? Will it do harm to yourself or others? Like, really think about like what you want to do, and think about those things. And if you get like yeah, it passes, like, this is going to be good for me, this is going to be good for my family, this is going to be good for the greater good, then start visualizing it. Like, really generate positive emotions around that thing, right? Like, you close your eyes, imagine a scene of your future life as you desire it. Like, I just see Adele and I at these Bigfoot festivals and different things, and I can visualize it, and it feels so good connecting with you all and connecting with different people, and really expanding and growing a community. Like, all these things feel good, and that's what I see, and I visualize it. I feel those good things, like working with my sister every day, like just cool things like that. And then you just do it every day. Like, every day you just think, man, can't wait, till Adele and I are at Bigfoot Fest. Like, it's going to be epic. We are going to have a blast. We're going to meet and connect with so many awesome people. And we're going to be able to have opportunities we never saw, and we're just going to keep it going. And then when you feel down, because let's face it, you're a human being. You're going to have days where you just feel like shit, and the world is just, sucks. And sometimes it freaking
Mm-hmm.
does. And I have a friend that does this every single day, and she's one of the most positive people I know. And she writes down her blessings every day in a journal, like something she's thankful for. And when she can't handle it anymore, she goes back and reads it. And on one of our runs, she's like, I wanted you to know I was having a really shitty day. And I went back to my journal. My journal entry was, I'm so glad Shelby's okay today and that Sarah gets more time with her. And that's my beagle that passed away. And that was something she was thankful for. Like, that happened a few years ago, and it still brought
Yeah.
her joy on that day. So be thankful for what you do have, create that positive flow in your life, and just, try to think big picture. Try to think big picture, and where you want to go, and how you want to get there, and how you want to vibe with the universe. And I know this is so woo woo, and Adele is she is the smart scientific one, and I am the more woo woo one for sure. But manifestation, I do think, is scientifically backed. I think you got to be careful though, because it really isn't just a wishing well. If it were that simple, Adele and I would already be coming to see you guys in April. Okay. That if it were that simple, we would all be doing it. But you've got to take those actions, and you've got to really think about that greater good. And when something shitty happens to you, really try to see it as neutral and put a positive spin on it, and don't take it as universe hates me, nothing good ever happens to me, I suck. Please don't do that to yourself. Get out of that thought pattern real quick. Whatever you have to do, whether it's write something you're thankful for, just get out of that thought pattern, because it can really take you down a spiral that's not good. Been there, done that. I give it a negative star. So what do you think? So Adele has a psychology background for sure. So I'm really excited to see your views on manifestation.
I mean, like I said, I think it's very much like cognitive theory. Like, it's kind of like a building block from it. Um, One thing I struggle, like manifestation, just like prayer to me, is my observation is usually when it doesn't work out, people are so quick to say the practitioner is doing it wrong. You know what I mean? Which
Yeah, you
means,
didn't do it right.
therefore, you can, like, oh, so manifestation is always right because it's the practitioner that's wrong. And those are some things that I find problematic with those ideas. I mean, I think manifestation is a little, I don't know, maybe prayer is meant to be more like manifestation. It's just us being raised in such an extreme religion to where it sounds like people really think if they pray enough, they can shift the hand of God, the universe, whatever the situation is, to be the outcome that they desire. And then it seems like they sometimes go into like an existential crisis when it doesn't happen. So I see it like hurt people because they're like, if I didn't pray hard enough, I didn't
Right. I wasn't
pray
good enough.
right. So I do see danger in some of these things when you do blame kind of the practitioner or people taking it the way that if it didn't work out, they did something wrong. It's kind of, I don't know. That's kind of where I come from with it as
Sure.
like a critique. I mean, otherwise, I think it's just very logical goal setting for the most part. Um, but I don't know, unlike goals, I think it is that higher level perspective that's slightly different. But I think that is the most difficult thing because if we're talking about infinite possibilities and outcomes, I'm at a loss for even what to ask for in the first place, then, because I have no idea what the possibilities are.
Sure. But I think that's the beauty of the vibing at that higher universal vibration, because you like say like whatever it is you want to manifest, like something that's really important to you, and it doesn't work out. I think it's that whole knowing that, oh well, there's another player on the field, there's another way I can, like you said with your football analogy, there's another way I can still be in the game and win it.
Yeah.
Change the play, like this is going to be a different play call, you know what I mean? And so I just think that, and I think it is cognitive behavior is all it is, right? It's like we're staying in that positive thinking mode instead of going down. But like I think the difference is we just know that, there are a million different possibilities, right? And it's going to all work out the way it's supposed to. And so you've got to just really, so sometimes when you manifest something, you may not get it. Like you got to remember that too. Like sometimes goals don't happen, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I
And
mean,
at least with me, I mean, that's where I'm like, oh, one, either that whole idea is just crap, or two, I must have done it wrong.
right.
And it's frustrating. And then you feel defeated.
Probably didn't do it right, Adele.
Probably.
It's practitioner 100%. But no, I mean, and I do think, but think about goals that you have set. Like, how many would you say happen versus not happen? If you had to really think about like a real, like a true goal, how many of them that you've really set out for have you actually made?
Yeah,
Or
I
maybe,
make very few goals personally. I
which
guess
is
that
probably
too.
wise.
Like,
We're also very, Adele's, so Adele is also very much, if it is important to her, it is few and far between, because you are very, you take life, not, I don't mean this, I mean this as a compliment, but it's going to come across as an insult. Like you don't take on more than you know that you're going to be able to do. You
or
know what I
that I
mean?
want to
You
do.
don't stress yourself out over, I'm going to take this on, take this on, take this on, take this on, and you're overwhelmed. Like what you choose to do, you do it and you do it very well and you get it done.
Yeah.
Whereas I am a million hands in the fire. I may be good at one of those things. The rest, I just kind of show up and suck at.
Yeah.
Do you know
Like
what I'm saying?
you're not going to make me do something I truly
Right.
don't want to do.
Like, I'm not going to be able to say, Adele, I really, and trust me, I've asked her, I'm like, will you start running with me? Will you ride your bike with me? No, 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 no.
Well, especially if I'm on vacation.
I'm not doing it. And but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think that I don't think there's anything wrong with having a lot of goals or a few goals. But I mean, obviously, like every goal I have, I mean, am I gonna be great, or like am I gonna be all in? as much as I like to do. Like I would love to, but I don't know if that's just possible, Whereas you just set more realistic few goals, but I bet you meet just about every one of them. If you think
Right.
back,
Yeah.
well, why do you think that is? I think it's because of manifestation. I think that you took the action, you knew what you wanted, you thought, hey, this is what it's going to be like when I get this, and you did it.
But I think whenever people use the word manifestation, there's instantly this kind of stigma attached to it that it's like really, really like faith based. And when you actually look at the practice of it, it's very tactical.
It is very tactical. So you think it should just be called something else, like goal setting 101?
Well, I mean, like I said, I think the difference is though, like usually goals, you have many goals lining up to one bigger goal.
Right. You got to break it down. Yep.
I mean, manifestation seems a little bit more fluid than that, I guess. I think the one thing with that, which always like kind of bakes my noodle, is
Anyway.
does does manifestation infer that there's predestination?
See, that's when it gets tricky, right?
Because I don't believe in predestination. I thought the whole point was that you choose for yourself. But the more you and I dive into this podcast and hear about like souls versus, and like your soul's journey and purpose, I don't know. And then if you think about like time and space and maybe it's not linear, it's almost like predestination couldn't exist because it's already happened or it's all happening at the same time
Right.
and your soul supposedly saw that. So it's not that it's predetermined, it's that at some point you kind of knew the future, but there is no future because
You
it's all
just hadn't
now.
caught up yet.
Like, and it just gets really woo woo and kooky.
It really makes my brain hurt, but I can't stop.
It's just like the Matrix, right? Like Neo is like, oh, okay, I'm not the one. The Oracle even told me I'm not the one. But we need to save Morpheus. So in him saving Morpheus, he becomes the one. Like nobody could have told him. He had
I had
to do
experience
the
it.
work and become it.
So, I think that's how we feel at this podcast. That really, when we start talking about these things, it always comes back to the Matrix.
It's the Matrix, yeah.
It's the Matrix. And I love talking about these things. And I think Adele and I, this is one of the reasons we started this podcast is because our conversations always leaned this way. And we just have this fascination with it all. Like I am obsessed, but sometimes I feel like Bono, the more I know, like what is it? The more, like pretty much the more, hang on, the more you see, the less you know, right? It's like the more
Yeah.
you find out, the less you know. Like it's just kind of like I'm really diving into these topics, right? And we're talking about them and we're doing different stories. And I feel like the more we see, the less we know. Like
Or
it gets muddled and you're just not sure.
like I even just had a funny kind of shower thought the other day. I was like, what if when you die, your soul's mission is to make you do what you were supposed to do? And
Oh,
you're like trying to throw cookies and clues to yourself, like, dude, no, like, get on the bus, get on the bus, get on the bus. Don't drive today. And like, you're not listening to yourself.
you have to like redo it again. Like, nope,
It's just like, damn it.
again.
Now we
Like,
have to, now, how am I going to get my own attention? Like,
yeah,
I mean, I have no idea, but
like you're
like
the
that would be
person that's
frustrating.
like throwing a rock at yourself. Like, hey, don't do
Yeah.
that.
It's kind of like in Harry Potter when they go back in time and they're trying to make them do what they did the first time. But if
Right,
they hadn't done that, then they wouldn't have the first time around anyway.
right. And I feel like, listen, I feel like if all of these theories were easy, what would be the point, right? And that's what makes it so crazy is that who knows? Like, I've heard really good theories about, your life is predestined. I've heard theories where it's a choose your own adventure type thing. I've heard theories like we've talked about. And I honestly don't know. Like, I have no idea. Don't know. But I love talking about it and learning about it. But I do feel with manifestation, I personally feel better when I'm vibing at a better frequency. Like when I start feeling down and out, and not believing in myself, it's just negative. So for me, it works. For me, I'm able to meet my goals. I'm able to just, I don't know, just be more pleasant and just be a better person to be around. So, if it's
Yeah.
something you do, then it's something you don't. If it's something you've never done, maybe try it. See what you think about it, and just know that, nothing bad is going to happen to you, like you can't will something bad to happen to someone else. And just know, like, really think about what you want, make sure it's for the greater good. And why not start living your life like you have it and taking those action steps? Like, try it. Just see, if it's
Yeah.
something that vibes with you or not. It may not. You might be like, this is stupid. Like, I don't like this at all. Or it might be something that you find that will help you for your goals in your life. It has helped me a lot. Um,
Yeah. I mean,
it
I will
truly
say
has.
the more I listen to like the ideas about manifestation and like how to do it, one thing it helps me with is really just not worrying.
Right.
Because I'm like, and let's say like it is my theory, and it's really just you looking around corners somehow for yourself to get you where you're supposed to be. Obviously you're going to take care of yourself. You just, like who knows if you somehow I don't know. It's just we live in a wackadoodle universe. Like the more we learn about it, the more it sounds like sci-fi instead of science. So I mean,
Oh, that's
who,
true though.
who knows? Like really, like maybe it
Uh-huh.
really is your future self, like trying to just
Get you on
go
track.
along to get where you need to go. So who knows for what reason? But then it really does erase all worry because you would set yourself up to win or set yourself up to get where you need to go. It might not be the way you like it, but I don't know. I've just kind of stopped worrying about stuff so much. I'm just like, well, it'll happen.
True. And I think it's a way too, like I have read somewhere where worrying is like the lack of action that you're taking because, worry does nothing, right? It gets you nowhere to worry about
Yeah, it
something.
just
It
wears you out,
literally
makes you feel
is just
worse.
something that wears you out and it gives your mind something to do. But it's not productive. So, man, if you're in that state, try manifesting, try letting it go, letting go of it. Because remember, it's not about controlling, it's about letting go. So you might find that maybe if this is something, that you are struggling with, you can just manifest, let it go, and you might at least just find peace of mind and knowing that you're taking actions on what matters to you and everything else you're letting the universe handle. Because I get that way. You know, I'm constantly emailing and calling like my local representatives, trying to change legislation, trying to do things. And I worry, like there are times at night I don't sleep because I'm so worried about people's rights being taken away, my rights being taken away, shit like today happening. And it keeps me up at night. And then I have to realize, okay, you did what you could do. You made the calls, you wrote the email, you took the action. Now you have to let go. You
Yeah.
can't, me sitting there worrying, me popping off on Facebook, it just doesn't do any good, right? And so you have to just take the actions on things that matter to you and let go of the rest and just know that you've done what you can do and that's all you can do. And whether you call that manifestation or goal setting or being cognitive, I think it's all connected, but I think it all really does help. If you, especially in this day and age, there's so much to worry about. It might just help you just find some peace of mind. And that's
Yeah.
always a welcome thing. I think we're all looking for tips on how to find that.
I still think the difference between goal setting and manifestation is this kind of act of faith, though, which I kind of hate because I always try to separate myself from any kind of like faith or religion, but that's kind of really what the difference is. You're just kind of like things are going to fall in places they need to be.
And
So
they
what's there
are.
to worry about?
That's right. I mean, there's only so much you can control, which is really nothing.
I mean, like I don't know if it's because I'm like well into my 30s, but like in my 20s, I got all fired up about politics and stuff. Just every generation does. But I'm
Sure.
like, it's not making me feel better or doing anything. being pissed off. So, I'm just like, it's eventually going to change. Progress is just very slow.
Yes, and it's frustrating. And you just have to just try it if you haven't. And maybe if you haven't tried it and you want to start it, and just let us know like what you think about it, or what are your thoughts on it. Is it something that you have found that has helped you, or something that has hindered you?
Yeah.
Would love to know your thoughts and tips and just your ideas about it.
Ooh, yeah.
That's our Monday manifestation story.
Well, there you go. That was fun. Yeah, that was a good topic. And in the words of Tony Horton, do your best and forget the rest.
Oh, those are words you can live by. Oh my gosh. Well, Adele, should we spin the wheel and see what you've got coming for us?
I think we
And
should.
in April, next weekend is April.
I
Or
can't
this
believe
weekend, not next weekend. This weekend is April. I feel like I blinked and March was over.
I keep thinking it's still January.
No, no.
All right, let's spin that wheel and see what we have
Okay,
next
let's
week.
see what we got.
Here we go.
It's really spinning today.
It's really spinning. Oh, okay.
All right, presenter's choice.
I will absolutely take that.
I love that. You can do whatever you want. It's awesome.
All right, cool. Well, thank you guys for listening. Go check out some of those fun events this weekend.
Yes.
Let us know what you think about manifestation. Total crap. Does it work for you? Not really sure. And we'll have some fun, I think, updates for you next week as we start entering like spring season.
Yes.
So fun stuff going on this summer.
Absolutely. Right around the corner.
Yeah.
I'm ready. And as we say here on the podcast, stay safe.
Stay curious.
And never trust the living.
Living.
Bye, you guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye.